camera zoomed in too close, too honest, too real. And in that single second at Weibo Night, Wang Yibo's eyes filled with tears. Not because of an award, not because of applause, but because of what he saw in Shiraojin's palm. Weibo Night has always been a kingdom of light. Crystal chandeliers shimmer above polished marble floors. The red carpet stretches forward like a promise of glory. Every movement is calculated, every smile rehearsed, every angle perfected before it ever reaches the public eye. That night, Shiraojin stepped into the spotlight the way he always does. Calm, composed, quietly radiant. He wore a dark, perfectly tailored suit that framed his figure effortlessly. His familiar, gentle smile appeared as naturally as breathing. His presence has never been loud, yet it commands attention without trying. He doesn't chase the spotlight follows him. Fans around the world tuned and expecting the usual magic, elegance, grace, flawless visuals. What they didn't expect was vulnerability. As Shiraojin lifted his hand to greet the audience, the broadcast camera followed the motion. For a split second, it seemed like a routine close-up. But then something unusual happened. The camera didn't pull back. Instead of his face, the screen filled with something far more intimate, his palm. The lines, the dry texture of skin, the faint marks left behind by years of work. Details no camera usually celebrates. The room fell into a strange, almost sacred quiet. Not because something had gone wrong, but because something real had appeared. And in that stillness, emotions began to crack open. Within seconds, social media exploded. Clips replayed again and again. Screenshots froze that single frame. Why does his hand look like that? He must be exhausted. This hurts to see. But among the countless reactions, one moment stood out. Wang Yibo, seated among the guests, shifted slightly in his chair.
His posture changed.
His gaze lowered. His lips pressed together as if holding back something heavy. Then his eyes shimmered. No dramatic gesture. No public breakdown. Just quiet tears forming, the kind that appear when words are no longer enough. Fans noticed immediately, not because the camera forced them to, but because they recognized that look. It wasn't shock. It wasn't surprise. It was recognition. A silent understanding of what that hand represented. Years of relentless schedules. Endless rehearsals. Hands gripping scripts, microphones, contracts. Hands raised in greeting, even when the body begged for rest. Hands carrying responsibility without complaint. In a world obsessed with perfection, this was something far more powerful. Truth. For fans, Shiraojin's palm was never just a random detail caught on camera. It became a mirror, reflecting years that were never shown on stage. Early call times before sunrise. Retakes that stretched deep into the night. Smiles held together by discipline rather than comfort. Applause earned through sacrifice. Each faint line on his palm seemed to whisper a story. Stories of pressure carried in silence. Of expectations worn like a second skin. Of giving everything without asking to be seen for the cost of it. Many fans later admitted they didn't cry immediately. They stared at the screen first. They paused the video. They zoomed in again. And only then did the tears come. Because in that hand, they saw effort that went beyond fame. They saw proof that success is not soft. That dreams demand something in return. That brilliance is often built on exhaustion the world never notices. Online, the words poured out like confessions. I never realized how much he carries. That hand looks like someone who never rests. This makes me want to protect him, even though I know I can't. And then there was Wang Yibo. His reaction gave weight to everything fans were feeling. It wasn't staged. It wasn't exaggerated. It was raw recognition. The look of someone who understands the cost of standing where Shiraojin stands. Two artists. Two journeys. One silent truth shared without dialogue. In that moment, fandom wasn't about admiration. It was about empathy. What followed made the moment even more powerful. Shiraojin chose silence. No explanation. No emotional statement. No attempt to soften the image or redirect attention. In an industry where narratives are carefully managed and vulnerability is often polished away, his restraint felt almost radical. Later, when asked about his work, he simply said, "I'm just trying to do my best in every job." Not heroic, not poetic, just honest. And that honesty aligned perfectly with what fans had already seen. Media coverage slowly shifted its tone. This wasn't gossip. It wasn't speculation. It became a story about professionalism, about endurance, about an artist who allows his work, and even his exhaustion, to speak for itself. Commentators noted how rare such moments are. Moments when glamour steps aside and reality walks quietly onto the stage instead. This incident also revealed something deeper about modern fandom. There is a growing desire to see idols not as flawless icons, but as whole human beings. People who feel pressure, fatigue, doubt, and continue anyway. Shirao Jin's palm became a symbol of that evolution. Wang Yibo's tears became its emotional punctuation. In the end, this story was never about a technical camera decision. It was about what happens when perfection cracks and truth shines through. A single zoom changed the atmosphere of an entire night. A single hand reshaped how fans felt. A single tear confirmed what words never could. Weibo Night will always be remembered for its lights and awards. But this year, it will also be remembered for its silence. The silence that followed a moment too real to ignore. For fans, that palm is no longer a small detail. It represents effort, sacrifice, devotion to craft, the kind of love for work that leaves marks behind. And Wang Yibo's reaction reminded everyone of something important. Behind every shining star is someone who understands the weight of the light. But perhaps what made this moment unforgettable was not the tears themselves, it was the stillness around them. The way the music continued playing, the applause resumed, the camera shifted to other angles, as if nothing extraordinary had happened. And yet, for those who were watching closely, everything had changed. That single frame lingered longer than any acceptance speech. It stayed longer than the glittering gowns and polished trophies. Because it showed what awards never measure: resilience. It showed the quiet cost of excellence. In the days that followed, fans didn't just share the clip. They shared stories. Stories of their own tired hands, of overtime shifts, of studying through the night, of chasing dreams that demanded more than they thought they could give. Somehow, Shirao Jin's palm made their struggles feel seen too. And maybe that is the true power of moments like this. They blur the distance between stage and audience, between idol and admirer, between perfection and humanity. Sometimes it only takes 1 second of honesty to remind the world that even stars are made of skin and bone, and that behind every bright light is a heartbeat working just as hard to keep shining.